This is historical footage of the People's Liberation Army suppressing the upper reactionary group's rebellion in Tibet in 1959. Over 47 hours, more than 5,300 enemy personnel were eliminated. A victory was achieved in quelling the Tibetan rebellion in action. Although Tibet had been peacefully liberated for many years, it was still under a theocratic feudal society. 5% of the nobles and monks deprived the farmers of their rights. They didn't even have the right to a bed and could only spend their lives in dirty cowsheds. Moreover, from birth, they had to engage in head chopping, handling grain, wool, mutton, and other unbearable hardships. The central government continuously assisted the Tibetan working people in construction to meet their needs and aspirations. However, a small group of reactionaries, fearing their status was threatened, plotted in secret. Supported by imperialist and foreign forces, their numbers grew to over 23,000, while the Tibetan People's Liberation Army had 5 regiments and more than 100,000 troops, feeling inadequately supported. On March 10th, they launched a full-scale rebellion. First, they openly distributed reactionary leaflets, incited Tibetan people's emotions, and demanded that all Tibetans sever all ties with the central government. They also threatened that anyone who refused to comply would be executed. Despite these threats, the majority of Tibetans still upheld the unity of the motherland. Many people moved into the office of the Preparatory Committee of the Tibet Autonomous Region with their families, as seen in the footage. A Tibetan youth was blinded by rebels for leaking information about armed group activities. This herdsman had served as a guide for the PLA. Rebel forces used red-hot iron wires to burn out his eyes. At the same time, the armed groups were at Mount Yawang, Norbulinka, and the Potala Palace. They focused on key points to build official efforts encircling PLA institutions in Tibet's military district. Armed militants rode through Lhasa's streets on horseback, compelling women to join marches, demonstrations, and petitions. Many felt ashamed, lowering their heads and covering their faces, yet despite this, the People's Liberation Army remained restrained and sought a peaceful resolution, but the armed militants instead launched premeditated attacks on office buildings and expatriate residences. After several PLA members were seriously injured, on March 20th, under Commander Zhang Guohua and Commissar Tang Guansan, they launched counterattacks against Panle forces in Lhasa. To uphold national unity and territorial integrity, the counterattack began in the footage. The PLA targeted the militants' weak points with lightning speed. They advanced towards Yawang Mountain, one of the militants' key defensive lines, which had constructed a solid defense. In the face of the PLA's fierce offensive, the armed militants' resistance appeared disorganized. Due to their collusion with foreign reactionaries and lack of popular support, the armed forces quickly collapsed. Many who were deceived or coerced into joining the rebel ranks surrendered their weapons. The PLA quickly assembled forces, advanced to Lobulenka, the rebellion's headquarters, and attacked from multiple directions to avoid concentrated rebel firepower. Using the terrain, they advanced step by step, swiftly annihilating main rebel forces and surrounding the remaining groups indoors. At 9 a.m. on the 22nd, under a strong political offensive and fierce military strikes, the rebellious armed forces that did not use bows successively disarmed and surrendered. The suppression struggle in Lhasa lasted 47 hours, resulting in the elimination of more than 5,300 perpetrators. Clearly, many weapons were of foreign manufacture, including American radio transmitters and British-made rifles. However, these advanced equipments did not change the outcome of the battle. Subsequently, Tibet initiated democratic reform campaigns, abolishing the serf system. Generations of thoroughly exploited serfs gained freedom, becoming the masters of a new Tibet. They were allocated over 2.8 million acres of land and other means of production. As the burning flames destroyed contracts and debts, the emancipated serfs sang and danced, celebrating the glorious festival of liberation. Kuaishu, embrace and celebrate every kind of life.